Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. In the dynamic realm of video games, there are those rare gems that grab players' attention by weaving together horror, mystery, and mind-bending suspense. Among these remarkable creations, the Evil Within series is like that spine-tingling campfire story you can't forget. It's proof that crafting hair-raising tales is an art in itself, one that keeps players pondering long after they've given their thumbs a break from the controller. In the center of this eerie adventure is the puzzling character Laura Victoriano. The Saga first strutted onto the scene in 2014 under the guidance of the Indigenous Shinji Mikami, with its debut title aptly labeled The Evil Within. This game was brought to life by Tango Gameworks and published by Bethesda Softworks. It was a nod back to the glory days of survival horror, a genre that Mikami himself pioneered with the legendary Resident Evil series. So let's have some fun today as we dive into the intricate world of Laura Victoriano, her origins, the symbolism she brings to the table, and how she weaves into the bigger story of The Evil Within. So, buckle up. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you. For us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Who is Laura Victoriano? In a spooky world where your mind plays tricks and your heart races, The Evil Within throws players into a realm messed up by the STEM system, a sci-fi creation that blurs what's real and what's not. At the core of this spine-tingling tale stands Laura Victoriano, a character draped in mystery and sadness. Her role in the topsy-turvy game world captures the eerie mix of human pain and bizarre experiments that fuel the story. Laura's tale is tightly woven with that of her younger brother Ruvik, also known as Ruben Victoriano. Ruvik embodies twisted genius. His traumatic past fuels his quest for power through the STEM system, plunging players into nightmarish realms. His presence evokes fear and his actions unveil a chilling narrative of scientific ambition gone horribly wrong. As a symbol of pain, sadness, and jaw-dropping change, Laura's looks and how she hangs around gave players a spooky shiver that hit them right in the mind. Laura possessed a captivating appearance, featuring long ebony hair draping down each side and eyes of a silvery blue hue. Adorned in a red and white dress paired with white shoes, she exuded an air of kindness, deeply devoted to Ruben Victoriano, expressing abundant care and affection towards him. During their childhood, Laura shared a deep bond with her younger sibling. Following their family's acquisition of a new property and farm, Laura and Ruben ventured into a barn on the newly acquired land. Unbeknownst to them, the barn's previous occupants approached, discussing reclaiming land ownership. The barn's exterior was doused in gasoline by these individuals, with little regard for the children's presence, despite one of them hearing them inside. The barn was then set ablaze by their torches. Amidst the chaos, the siblings discovered a small window in the upper part of the barn. Despite being engulfed in flames, they managed to reach the window. Ruvik, severely burned but surviving, fell out of the window. Tragically, Laura could not escape the inferno and was left to suffer a horrifying demise within the burning barn, her agonized screams echoing. She collapsed and fell from the upper floor to the barn center, seemingly losing consciousness. The fire didn't fully reach this part of the barn, sparing her from further burns. Following the blaze, Ruvik spiraled into a state of profound desolation and eventually reached a breaking point. His emotional turmoil drove him to commit a heinous act, murdering his parents. In his shattered mindset, he assigned them culpability for the tragic events that befell both him and his sister. However, an article from the Crimson Post found in the game's universe indicates that Laura didn't succumb to the barn fire. Instead, she suffered severe injuries and entered a non-responsive state, eventually passing away. Notes within the Victoriano mansion hint that in the years after her demise, Ruvik experienced apparitions of her. During the game's events, a warped manifestation of Laura emerges, born from Ruvik's memories of her and his desire for retribution. This distorted version becomes a part of the unsettling narrative. Laura as a creature. As I was saying, within Ruvik's mind space, a peculiar being takes shape, resembling a twisted incarnation of Laura. Sporting the same flowing ebony hair, this creature's body contorts into a nightmarish form, sporting 4 arms, each armed with razor-sharp claws. It's a relentless pursuer of Sebastian Castellanos, the main protagonist of the series, at different junctures in the game. Interestingly, bullets do no harm and fire happens to be its kryptonite, provoking anguished cries reminiscent of Laura's Barn Inferno ordeal. This bizarre entity stems from Rubik's last recollections of his sister, steered by his thirst for payback. It's like a surreal puzzle piece in the intricate web of the storyline. In the first game, Sebastian Castellanos has his first eerie encounter with Laura towards the close of Chapter 4. Imagine a morgue-esque room, a short hallway, and a heap of cadavers. Right as our protagonist ventures closer, Laura springs forth from the pile with a scream that could wake the dead. Realizing he's dealing with quite a formidable opponent, our detective smartly chooses to beat a hasty retreat. But as fate would have it, Laura isn't ready to call it quits. She appears again in the next chapter, prepared for a showdown in a spacious incinerator chamber. Sebastian gets creative and uses the floor's built-in burners to give her a hot reception, and after a trio of sizzling encounters, Laura's specter is toast. In Chapter 10, Laura reappears before Amalgam Alpha whisks Sebastian away to another dimension. She starts by crawling along a hefty wire tube, eventually bursting through it as Sebastian opens the door. The sleuth then embarks on a journey to reach the elevator situated at the area's far end. In case our formidable Laura isn't put to rest before Sebastian hops into the elevator, she pulls a daring move, snagging onto Sebastian through the chain doors while it's on its way down, resulting in her losing 2 of her arms. Quite the gripping drama, if you ask me. And just like that, Laura fades into the background for the game's remainder. Considering Rubik's likely fate, whether he's kicked the bucket or unplugged from STEM, it's a safe bet that Laura met a similar end, waving goodbye along with the other creepy crawlies in the vicinity. But not for long, as she briefly returns in The Evil Within 2. Should Sebastian trigger a memory at a house on Cedar Street North End, in the residential area, he is returned to Beacon. There he enters a room and comes across an image of himself, dressed as he was during the Beacon incident, slumped over in a chair amid a blood pool. As he investigates, Laura's clawed hands emerges from the blood, pulling him into the pool. After this chilling episode, he awakens back in the starting house with the words "Never Forget" and the Beacon symbol burned into the wall. Laura reappears during the boss face-off with Theodore Wallace, who manipulates Sebastian's STEM-based memories to torment him. Following Sebastian's triumph over the sadist and the Keeper, Laura emerges from the latter's defeated head, and the scene shifts to a room akin to the previous incinerator room from the first game. In this nostalgic setting, Sebastian stays a step ahead of Laura, turning valves and pulling a lever to set an overhead incinerator ablaze in the room's center. This ingenious move vanquishes his memory of Laura, freeing him from her influence for good. How to beat Laura. In the first part of the series, taking on the hunting and formidable Laura requires wit, strategic planning, and a resourceful approach. With her teleportation abilities and relentless pursuit, this eerie creature poses a considerable challenge to players. However, with the proper techniques, players can overcome her menacing presence and secure victory. Laura's slow but teleportation-enhanced movement demands that players stay on the move constantly. To hamper her progress, players can take advantage of environmental elements like shutter doors that can be closed, briefly slowing her down. Laura has the unsettling ability to spawn from corpses, particularly those near Sebastian. Burning the corpses before she can utilize them decreases her resilience, making her more vulnerable. Her time-taking spawning animation allows players to deal significant damage if they time their attacks correctly. Using conventional weaponry is feasible, though her high health and constant teleportation can drain valuable resources when targeted. An effective technique to counter her teleportation is to briefly aim, then fire instantly, as it takes her a second to dash after being aimed at. The shotgun, equipped with its hip-firing capability, proves valuable for close encounters. Special weapons like the Magnum and a rocket launcher can be potent tools against Laura. These not only deal substantial damage, but also causes her to stagger, making her easier to manage. Freezing her using freeze bolts from the Agony crossbow is another practical approach, immobilizing her for Sebastian to retaliate or escape. It's crucial to assess the situation before engaging with Laura. Fighting her may not always be the wisest choice due to the scarcity of resources provided by the game. While defeating her can yield rewards like green gel and ammunition, the effort expended might outweigh the benefits. Laura can only be killed during specific encounters, and it's important to recognize when to conserve resources and opt for evasion rather than confrontation. Seizing opportunities is vital. In Chapter 4, a combination of explosive bolts and grenades can defeat her effectively. Setting bolts along her spawn point and utilizing grenades as she approaches can deal substantial damage. In Chapter 5, Laura's delayed spawning allows players to set traps, burn bodies, and gather supplies before engaging her. In The Evil Within 2, Laura's susceptibility to being immobilized by freeze bolts remains a valuable strategy. Utilizing freeze bolts to incapacitate her is crucial for advancing in the encounter. This becomes particularly important when operating the gas valves to activate the incinerator, a pivotal step in defeating her. Properly timed and aimed freeze bolts can buy players the time they need to access these valves and harness the incinerator's power. Sebastian's personal arsenal can also prove decisive in the battle against Laura. If players have constructed a flamethrower, this weapon becomes a potent tool against her. Engaging her with the flamethrower requires a substantial amount of fuel, 80 units to be exact. However, this approach offers a significant advantage by bypassing the need to activate the incinerator altogether. The flamethrower's continuous burst of fire can significantly damage Laura, potentially ensuring a quicker victory. So like I said, confronting Laura in the Evil Within series requires a mix of skill, strategy, and resource management. Players must exploit her vulnerabilities, use environmental elements to their advantage, and choose their battles wisely. Whether opting for confrontation or evasion, understanding Laura's behaviors and leveraging available tools will be crucial in emerging victorious against this enigmatic and relentless adversary. Marvelous verdict. And that brings us to the end of this video. As a grotesque entity, Laura's contorted form and relentless pursuit instill fear and discomfort in players. Intertwined with that of her brother Ruvik, her tale weaves a narrative tapestry of agony, loss, and dark desires. Her presence adds a layer of psychological tension, underscoring the horrors lurking within both the game's narrative and the player's psyche. Laura's unnerving character and the methods employed to conquer her mirror the broader themes of the franchise, like facing inner demons, navigating the fine line between reality and nightmare, and battling against overwhelming odds. As players engage in this unsettling dance with Laura, they come to appreciate the profound impact of a well-crafted antagonist in delivering an unforgettable, spine-tingling game experience. What do you think about her? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with all your friends. And I'll see you soon.